Welcome to Mission Stories for Kids with Uncle Gordon, where you will hear first-hand accounts of answers to prayer and miracles from God. Oh, by the way, I think adults will like this too.
Hi boys and girls, lovely to be with you. It's Uncle Gordon here again today. When I was working in the Solomon Islands, one day I had a knock at the door. It was actually late at night, and it was a father who was obviously very, very worried, and he said, "Can you please come down to my home? My baby is very, very sick, and we think he is going to die." And then he began to tell me, we haven't paid tithe, we haven't paid our offerings, we haven't done all sorts of things, and we think God is trying to punish us because of our wrong, and he's going to let our little baby die. And I said to him, well, my God doesn't work that way, and my God is your God. He doesn't work like that, but I'll follow you down. Tell me where you live and I'll come to your place. And so I went down to his place. And he was living in what was a little fishing village where all the little homes were made of just thatch walls and thatch roofs, and went into his home. And there was their little baby just lying, looking very almost like he was dead. He had been to the hospital for quite a few days, and he had had injections in his neck, and then when that swelled up too much, then he had injections in his bottom, and he couldn't get comfortable because of all those injections, and so eventually the hospital had said to the mum and dad, "I'm sorry, there's nothing more we can do. He's not responding. Just take him home and have him at home for when he dies." And then the father said to me as we sat down with them all, "But we don't want our little boy to die. Is there something you can do?" And as I looked around the room, there were a lot of their family. A lot of the relatives were there too. And a lot of those ones didn't know about Christ. They didn't know about God. They didn't know about Christianity. And they had no idea of God's love and God's care for them. And so I shared a little bit with them about how much God cares. He is the Creator. He made us so he knows exactly what's going on inside us. He knows when things go wrong, when things are going right. And he isn't one to punish us because something we do wrong, because of something we've said. He doesn't come down and try and cause trouble on us. He loves us very, very much, and he just wants us to enjoy just having a connection with him. Then I decided it was time to pray. So I prayed. I put my hand on this little baby and I said, "Dear Jesus, there are a lot of people here who don't know about you, who don't know about your love. Even mum and dad, even though they're Christians, they don't understand your love. They think that you're trying to punish them. And I know, you know that that's not what you're trying to do. So please help them all to know that you are here, that you care for their precious little boy, and that you can do something about it. And so I give him to you. The doctors couldn't do anything more. The nurses did all they could. Nobody else could do anything, but you can deal with it. So please, God, I give him to you now." Then I said, "Amen," and then went home late that night. The next morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened by a loud banging at the door. And I quickly got up and put something around me and went to the door. And there was the father, beaming. He said, "Pastor, and my little boy is just perfect. After you had prayed last night, he just went into a big, deep sleep. And he slept all night, and this morning he's woken up and he's wanting to be fed. He's wanting his mum to feed him. And there's no marks on his neck, no marks on his bottom. Everything has all been made new. He is perfect again. Thank you for praying for our little boy." And I brought the man inside and put my arm around him. And I said, "We need to thank God." And so we had a little prayer of thanks to God, that God wasn't punishing that man or his wife. He wasn't punishing any of the family, but he had demonstrated that day how every child was precious, how every family was important to him, how much he loved them all and wanted them to be happy families. That mum and dad, they were so grateful that they called that little boy then Smith. Well, they couldn't say the TH, so they just called him Smith. And so there's a young person somewhere in the Solomons now who has my name, simply because I represented God to them. So boys and girls, your family is important to God too. And he wants you all to be happy. And as you want to share your life with him, he wants to be part of that. He wants you to talk to him, and he wants to be with you, to guide you and to lead you each day. God bless as you let him be part of your life today. Thanks, boys and girls.
You've been listening to Mission Stories for Kids with Uncle Gordon, a production of 3ABN Australia Radio.